In my books, there are only two passions in life: good food and my bicycle. Ever since I can remember, I've had a bike. Well, originally a tricycle. I've cycled my way around the world, eating the most delicious dishes from Pakistan's snow-topped mountains to Mexico's cactus-studded deserts. I must be the world's first cycling gourmet. And now here I am back home, keen to discover the amazing food that is on my own doorstep. Join me, Nell, that's Nell Nelson, as I eat my way round Scotland. This week's programme will be a bit of a seafood fest, where I indulge in fresh oysters, hand-dived scallops and the ever-abundant prawn. I'll start out at Tarbet on Loch Lomond and head west to Loch Fyne. My plan is to spend the night at the Fyne Hotel and then cycle towards the coast along the Crinan Canal. The whole time taking in the magnificent views Argyll and the West Coast are famous for. But first, I've got some serious hill work up and over the Rest and Be Thankful before I get to the shores of Loch Fyne and its famous oyster bar. I'm meeting marketing manager and oyster expert Virginia for a spot of restorative breakfast.
So if you're going to eat an oyster, you just need to take it a little bit off the muscle there. There we go, these are just freshly opened. If you don't want all that liquid, you can just pour a little bit out. Some people think the liquid's the best bit. And then you can just put that in your mouth, squish it in.
I've been looking forward to this. I've cycled all the way down from the West.
You must be starving.
I was eyeing up Loch Fyne all the way here. So yeah, this is
You'll have to eat at least 2 dozen.
Oh, this is my this is my breakfast.
Good.
Different from cornflakes. No, it's a lot better than cornflakes. Well, they are a lot better for you, aren't they? In terms of nutrients.
These are the most fantastic thing you can eat in terms of what's in them, or rather what's not in them. There's absolutely zero cholesterol. There's omega-3, which is good for brains, arthritis, all those sorts of things. There's also a whole wealth of mineral elements. Zinc is the one that gives the oysters their aphrodisiacal properties.
Oh, right. Oh, well.
But I have to tell you, now it only works for men.
Oh well. But then, because all oysters, obviously they come from the loch, but all lochs provide different flavour nutrients. Well, different nutrients, so they give the oysters different flavours.
That's right. So Loch Fyne here, we call it our magic soup. We're not putting anything artificial into the loch at all. There's no feeding for the oysters, all the mussels that we grow here. We don't put anything in.
It's all just the plankton that naturally grows.
It's all this naturally plankton that's in the loch. And also we're monitoring the water all the time, so we can look after the loch that we have here. These oysters here, these all come straight out of the loch, probably yesterday. And you can always tell when an oyster's fresh, because if you shake it like this, you shouldn't get much water coming out, if any at all.
So it means it's completely sealed?
Which means it's sealed, because you see there's quite a lot. If you look at the oyster when it's open, there's a lot of water in there, if you think about it.
Is that seawater?
That's seawater, yes. That's a little bit of water that's been sealed up, and that water will stay in there and help keep the oyster alive, because oysters need to be alive up until the point you open them and eat them. They're also, people think the oysters are difficult to open, but they're not really. Shall I show you?
Yes, do.
And you have to break the hinge, which is here. So you just give a sharp push like that till it goes in. So it's gone in there, and then you just twist like that, and it pops. Some people say it's like popping an oyster. And then you just need to go along and cut where that muscle is that's holding the oyster there. I'm going to eat this one now.
They're so heavy, hogging them. And is that your favourite way to have oysters?
Fantastic. Oysters, like shellfish, all shellfish are generally at their best in the autumn and winter, because they've had the full summer's growth. Although they're very good in the summer too.
This is perfect timing.
Absolute perfect timing.
So everyone's saying I'm mad to cycle around Scotland in the winter, but I maintain the roads are empty,
for
oysters are at their best.
Good. Yeah, definitely.
Loch Fyne Oyster Bar has a very tempting food shop, but I've only eyes for oysters. It's for occasions like this that I like to travel with a half-empty pannier. But shopping isn't over just yet. Only 3 minutes up the road is Fyne Ales, where Tuggy and Johnny brew their own unique type of microbeer with fantastic names like Maverick and Vital Spark, all brewed in their old milk parlour. It's all hand-bottled, hand-capped, personally tasted and hand-labelled. There are not many breweries in Scotland where you can just pitch up on a bicycle and buy a beer, or 8 for supper. The Romans brought oysters to Britain, and they have been a staple ever since. At one point, they were so abundant, they were a way of making beef go further, and now overfishing has lurched them into the luxury market. When I lived in Asia, beef and oyster sauce was a very common combination, usually accompanied by some Qingtao beer. I've got the ale, some lovely fresh oysters, so I want to create a beer, beef and oyster pie that once was very popular in Scotland, using produce from just down the road.
And if we're counting food miles, I've travelled far further than the ingredients, which is the way eating should be. Right, Mike, let's start making our pie.
Got some chopped shallots here, diced beef, some garlic, some butter, some smoked bacon, flour, and the oysters.
I can tell you, I've paddled around with. Right, we start with the shallots.
So we start with the shallots, a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and that will stop the butter from burning. The butter's for flavour.
So ready for shallots?
Yep. And just let those soften.
So what kind of beef is this?
This is from the Isle of Bute. It's local beef.
And then what cut of beef is it?
And that is what you would call down south a shin of beef, but in Scotland it's called a hoch.
And is that well suited to long, slow cooking?
Long, slow cooking, yeah. I mean, I would cook that for a couple of hours.
There's one ingredient missing.
There's one ingredient missing, and that's the garlic.
I thought you were going to say the beef. We let that sizzle for a bit while we discuss one of the more important aspects of this dish.
All right.
Because when I went to see Tuggy at Fyne, she suggested that Vital Spark is a sort of slightly darker, more porter-style beer, but she also gave us the Maverick. And I thought we could try them both. Oh, well, cheers.
Oh,
see,
cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Kilfinnan.
Oh, thank you. Which one will we put in?
I personally would go for the darker one.
So we go for the Vital Spark?
Yes.
Because I mean, we're going to cook this for what, about an hour or so?
Yeah,
so
I would
a lot
think
of this
so.
beer will very sadly
just a slow cook.
evaporate, won't it?
And we need a bit of thyme in there as well, don't we?
Oh, that's we forgot, yes.
Very wonderful.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And some smoked bacon, which we've diced up. We can put a piece of foil right down close over the top of it, and that just keeps all the steam in. Yes, yeah.
Excellent. We leave that for how long?
Leave that for an hour and a half. It's a really sort of crude and rough sort of effect.
So it's quite a rough sort of dish. I mean, it's a really
rustic dish. Pull this off and you just see how the steam just stays under there.
Oh, it's a great way to cook. Oh, that looks super. And a bit of that lovely beer juice. Yeah.
Now,
oh, it's going to be a good pie.
and we'll just pop the crust on the top. Really rustic. It's quite
Citrus
thick.
crust. And then how long will you cook this in the oven for?
About half an hour to 40 minutes. There we go. It's 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. That's right, there we go.
Excellent. Into the oven. Oh, well, use of the time. Can I offer you would like some Vital Spark, Maverick, and oyster?
Here we have the finished pie.
Oh, it's wonderful. You can really see how the puff pastry's puffed up your layer effect. Now, are we allowed to try some?
Go on.
Dig in.
You can be first.
Oh, it looks gorgeous. And I've got an oyster as well. Oh, it looks fantastic. So, Mike, will this make it onto the Fyne bar menu?
I think it might.
And what will you call it?
What about a para-handy pie?
That's got a nice ring about it. Oh, cheers. Thank you very much.
How would you like to embark on your own culinary tour? We're giving you the chance to win a 5-day culinary tour for 2 in the beautiful Trossachs and Cowles of Bute, courtesy of Marshall's Pasta. You'll experience excellent Scottish hospitality, enjoy a feast of gourmet cuisine, and even take part in a cookery demonstration with an award-winning chef. For your chance to win, just tell us, which of the following is the highest mountain in Scotland? A. Ben Lomond, B. Ben Nevis, C. Ben More. Phone 0901 293 1166. Calls cost £1 plus your standard network charges. Mobile rates may vary. Text TOUR A, B or C to 88010. Text costs £1 plus your usual carrier tariff. Digital satellite viewers can press red to enter the competition, where you'll also find recipes and routes inspired by the programme. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close Sunday, midnight, 4th June. Details at our websites.
Argyll is a glorious combination of islands, sea, lochs and mountains. I started my journey at Tarbert on Loch Lomond, but today I'm heading for Tarbert on Loch Fyne. What a beautiful shortcut, in spite of the rain. The Crinan Canal is one of Argyll's gems, and it's only 9 miles long. It's a magnificent feat of engineering, joining Ardisheg on Loch Fyne with Crinan at the top end of the Sound of Jura. It was opened in the early 1800s with 15 lochs to navigate, but this relatively short stretch of canal saves sailors a 130-mile trip around the Mull of Kintyre.
It's true what they say about the west coast of Scotland. It gets the rain, and I definitely feel I've seen a lot of water today. So I'm looking forward to getting out of my wet clothes and into whiskey with Nick Ryan, owner of the Crinan Hotel.
I was delighted to get to the end of the Crinan Canal and find your hotel. Has there always been a hotel at Crinan?
Well, there's been an inn here since about 1640s.
And you've been here since?
I've been here 36 or 38 years, I can't quite remember.
And then you're so near the sea. So is seafood a major attraction?
Seafood is a major attraction. And seafood is the easiest thing for us to get.
Because only, what about how many paces from here?
50 yards from the kitchen.
So what's on the menu tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to make a tart of scallop, smoked bacon with a goat's cheese sauce.
With no pastry?
With no pastry. I know it's a strange concept to grasp, but there's not going to be any pastry in it.
Oh, let's start. I'm intrigued.
Okay, no problem. Well, first what I have to do is I need to start with the sauce. First of all, I've got this a wee bit hot, because you want it to start as quickly as you can.
So is this cream?
This is just double cream. It has to be double cream because you want a nice coating consistency which double cream gives you once you reduce it down. So what I've got, it's about 300 ml of double cream here. So I'm just going to put this on. Quite a high heat because you want to get it going, you want it reducing quite fast. Probably take about 10 minutes maybe to reduce down. So next we're going to make a dressing. If you want to get involved in that.
Oh, no, yes.
That'd be fine. So what I've got here, I've got a mixing bowl and a whisk. So I'll give you that. So I've got some nice olive oil. So you put that in. The recipe for this is quite simple. It's universal actually. It's always 3 times the oil to the white wine vinegar.
So that's the vinegar going in?
So you add that in as well. And then what we have here is some Pommery mustard. The reason we're using Pommery mustard is it's not as strong as you would get as English mustard and French mustard.
So it doesn't overpower it?
It doesn't overpower it. If you put in this dish, if you put too many flavours that are overpowering, you won't get the actual flavour of the dish that you're looking for, which will be a big problem, you know.
And then these scallops, they're hand dived.
They're hand dived, which means when they dive for the scallops, you know, they're getting them at the right size and it's just perfect for you, you know. When they do it the other ways, you know, they're getting them, they're small, they're not good, but these scallops are all, they're quite uniformed actually. When we get them in, they're all a nice size, nice weight, perfect for us. So just give it a good mix about, yep. And just put it on the table.
Obviously, it's fantastic for the Caribbean Hotel to be so near the sea and get all this great shellfish and seafood. But the other side must be quite hostile conditions sometimes.
Yes, the weather can get really bad here, particularly from the west and the northwest. And all the tides around here are influenced by the Gulf of Corryvreckan, which is the third biggest whirlpool in the world. And that is between the north end of the island of Jura and the south end of the island of Skava. And the tide floods from east to west. But the prevailing wind is southwesterly. And so southwesterly wind is trying to hold the water back. And this immense tide is trying to get through this narrow gap. And that is further complicated by off the southwest side of Scarborough, for want of a better word, an underwater mountain. And so the water starts to turn around that, and that's what causes the whirlpool.
And that's it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bit of lemon juice in it. Just a touch now. Again, it's just to taste. We'll give it another whisk. And that's the dressing ready. Now we've made the dressing, what we have to do is we've got to dress the leaves.
Now these are lovely leaves. Where do you get these from?
We get these are from Isle of Skye. It's another perk of working up here that you can get ingredients like this for dishes, you know, it makes so much of a difference. So what we do is, the dressing that we made earlier on, you just get a couple of spoonfuls if you want, just spoon it over the leaves, yep.
So they're so delicious, they don't really need that much dressing, do they?
So what we're going to do is we're going to get our hands involved in this and we're just going to mix them in. We just want to make sure that they're all coated. You just want to be laying them on the plate lightly, just in the centre of the plate. You just try and arrange them so they're looking artistic, you could say. So that's perfect. So the first thing is the hand diving scallops. Now, you place them in. You've got two flat sides on them and then you've got rounded sides. You want to put them on the flat side.
Because they don't take long, they cook really quickly,
They cook really quickly, a couple of minutes and they're cooked. So we're going to leave these just for a minute. And while we're leaving these, what we'll do is we'll do the smoked bacon next.
It's quite a tradition to put a smoky or a pancetta bacon with the scallops.
Yeah,
nice...
it goes well. You know, meat and fish, you think sometimes it doesn't go.
Do you want me to give you the lime scallops?
Yeah,
Are you doing that?
could you do that for me? If you just check them, just turn one.
Let's see what one looks like.
And have a wee look.
Oh yeah, and get ready to go.
Just turn them in out.
Because you do feel if someone's gone to all the trouble diving 110 feet, the least you could do is make sure you don't burn them.
Yeah, you need to make sure that they're perfect. So just give them a shake. Your goat's cheese sauce, we can start that. We can finish that off now.
a bit more action.
Yeah. So what it does, you get your goat's cheese. I'm not going to use all of this. I'm just going to
I was going to say it's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot, yeah.
And again, you can do it in big chunks. It's going to
Just
melt
do it in
quite
big
quickly,
chunks.
isn't
It just melts right down. So just put it in. You just whisk it in, basically. That's all you do.
Because it's a very easy white sauce, no flour, butter.
Nothing. It's just all natural, nice flavours, you know. Because if it's a strong cheese, then it take away the flavours.
You lose the scallops. Because the scallops, they're the star of the dish, aren't they?
That's it. That's what people are buying off the menu, you know. They're not buying the goat's cheese sauce. And then if you give it a taste, just to make sure that it's nice and seasoned.
Oh, we're allowed to taste?
Yeah, you're allowed to taste it.
Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah.
You can taste you can taste the goat's cheese.
But it's not too overpowering either.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's liquid goat's cheese.
Yeah. So what I've done is added the smoked bacon now. This again only takes seconds. So I'm just going to leave that for a wee minute. Next, the nice cherry tomatoes. These are nice Italian cherry tomatoes. Beautiful, any time of the year. Just got to half them.
And again, these you could use Scottish ones, couldn't you, in season?
You could use Scottish ones in season, yeah. Which we do here. You just put them in your pan. Cherry tomatoes only take a second. You don't want to overcook them because what happens is they just go to mush.
And all the legs there are so watery.
Yeah, they just look watery. So once I've got tomatoes in 10 to 20 seconds, add a couple of knobs of butter.
What's that? Is that just being
Just
naughty?
emulsifies it.
It's all starting so healthily.
Yeah, it gives it, if you look at that butter, it's thickened up.
I can see, it makes its own little sauce, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes its own sauce. It's thickened up all the juices that's come out of the scallops, out of the bacon. So that's us ready. So what we'll do now is, it's plating up time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange these scallops neatly around the plate. I've got 8 of them.
Are they king scallops or queen scallops?
These are king scallops.
So they're the bigger ones.
Yeah. Cherry tomatoes now. The last thing we do is get the goat's cheese sauce. You just want that. You don't want this on top of the leaves, you just want this on top of the bacon.
To dress the scallops and the bacon?
Yep, that's it. And you don't need too much of it either. Sometimes what we do is we get some prawns, just to finish it off.
And these are some prawns you just happened to have turned up at the doorstep earlier on
today.
today.
Every day we get them at the doorstep.
So it makes it very easy for your last minute garnish. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. So I should get everything. Should you get a bit of bacon,
Yeah,
tomato,
a bit of bacon,
bit of tomato,
as well,
and
and a
leaf.
bit of leaf.
Gosh, it's quite a need a
Big
big
mouthful.
fork. It's a big mouth, big fork. Mmm. Really good. You can taste the scallop and the bacon all together. It's a fantastic mixture.
It's not overpowering. It's nothing overpowering in the dish.
No, it all works really well. Yeah. You say you make what, 60 a day?
Yeah, in the height of the summer we do. Yeah, make a lot of these.
This 2-day, 80-mile journey is a great way to see a very special part of Argyll on the west coast of Scotland. You can't help but feast on the amazing seafood available here, whether it's oysters and mussels or prawns and scallops. It's a chef's dream region. When I started this journey, I was at the top of Rest and Be Thankful, and I had high hopes of what was ahead of me. But this tour has exceeded all my expectations. I've really noticed when I speak to chefs and fishermen, growers and brewers, that there's a new way of thinking creeping to Scotland's food industry. It's not a question of where the food comes from, but it's how it's caught and if there's enough for the next generation. I keep hearing the word sustainability, and I think it's really important that we enjoy our food, but we're aware that there's still enough fish left in the sea. So if you're up for the ride, join me next week as I take another bite out of Scotland.